think this next epidemic is more dangerous than COVID. It's slowly creeping up, and it affects Generation Z and even Generation Alpha. That's why you see so many young people struggling. We all know someone who's super tired all the time. They sleep around 7 hours or more every night, eat enough calories, yet they're always tired. They have no energy. They have no motivation. They can't get out of bed. They're sleepy during the day. They can't focus when they're working or studying. And most importantly, they procrastinate on everything. They know what their goals are, but they just can't seem to get themselves to take action. Now, most people would assume that this person is not getting enough rest or sleep, or maybe they're not eating the right foods, or they don't consume enough water. But none of these things are true. There's another explanation. This person is experiencing what I call chronic tiredness. And this has become a silent epidemic affecting our younger generations. The truth is that tiredness is a psychological problem, not a physical one. You see, the tiredness we experience comes from a chemical imbalance in our brain, not a lack of energy in our body. It's caused by a broken reward system that makes us feel tired from doing certain things while giving us energy to do others. Now, it's important to understand that tiredness isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's very useful. It's actually a mechanism that helps us pace ourselves and avoid wasting energy doing things that aren't worth it. The issue arises when we start feeling tired from doing things that we should be doing. And that's exactly what's happening with younger generations. They're becoming tired from working hard, improving their skills, and trying to build something great. They don't have the energy to chase their dreams because their brains make them feel tired. So why are they feeling tired? Why does their brain make them feel tired from doing good things? Well, if you want to understand this phenomenon, then you need to understand the neuroscience of tiredness. So let me explain. This model was proposed in 2012 by a group of researchers led by Professor Andrew Bistanterkis and Rao Dasambrayat. It's now known as the Central Governor Model of Fatigue. According to this model, tiredness is a psychological signal that tries to discourage actions which it believes will either be too hard or won't be worth the effort. Essentially, our brain tells us to not bother doing something because the effort required isn't worth the reward that we'll receive. For example, let's say you're exhausted after a long day of work. Your brain might make you feel tired to prevent you from going for a run because it thinks the effort you'll put in won't be worth it. After all, what's the point of going for a run when you could just relax and watch TV? Or let's say you're studying for an exam. Your brain might make you feel tired to prevent you from continuing because it knows that studying will be tough and you won't get any immediate reward for it. Instead, you could just scroll through social media or play video games and get a dopamine hit immediately. But wait a second, you might be thinking, how does our brain decide whether something is worth it or not? How does it calculate the effort versus reward ratio? Well, here's how it works. Every time you do something, your brain performs a cost-benefit analysis to figure out whether it's worth it or not. If the reward is higher than the cost, then it's worth it and you'll feel energized. If the reward is lower than the cost, then it's not worth it and you'll feel tired. The reward is calculated based on two neurochemicals, dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine is the reward that we get for completing tasks that satisfy our wants and desires. It's the feeling of satisfaction we get after eating a delicious meal, finishing a project, or watching an episode of our favorite show. Serotonin is the reward that we get for completing tasks that satisfy our needs, such as spending time with friends, helping others, or achieving a goal. The reason why so many young people today feel chronically tired is because they're constantly engaging in activities that offer low effort for high reward. Activities like using social media, streaming Netflix, or playing video games offer high reward, but they don't require much effort. These activities hijack the reward centers in our brain and make us feel good without having to do much work. However, when it comes to doing things that require more effort, such as studying, building a business, or exercising, our brain tells us that it is not worth it because it doesn't expect a high enough reward for the amount of effort required. This is why young people today find it difficult to stay motivated and focused on tasks that require sustained effort. Their brain is literally making them feel tired to prevent them from doing these activities. And this is just the beginning. These low-effort, high-reward activities are also causing dopamine desensitization. Dopamine desensitization happens when we constantly engage in activities that give us high dopamine hits, such as consuming drugs, alcohol, pornography, or using social media. Over time, this constant stimulation makes our brain less responsive to dopamine, meaning that we need more and more of it to feel the same level of reward. This is why people who use social media excessively often find themselves needing to spend more and more time on it to feel the same level of satisfaction. They've literally become desensitized to it. The problem is that these low-effort, high-reward activities are becoming more and more prevalent in our society. We live in a world where instant gratification is the norm, and hard work is often not rewarded. This is creating a generation of young people who are unable to delay gratification and put in the hard work required to achieve their goals. They simply don't have the energy because their brain makes them feel tired. So how can we fix this? How can we help young people develop the energy and motivation to achieve their goals? Well, there are two parts to the solution. First, we need to change their mindset. We need to help them see that tiredness is not a bad thing, but rather a signal that they should pay attention to. We need to teach them that feeling tired from doing good things is not a bad thing, but rather a sign that they're growing and evolving as individuals. Secondly, we need to help them develop the right habits and behaviors. We need to teach them how to train their willpower, strengthen their self-control, and develop a positive mindset. We need to show them how to prioritize their goals and resist distractions. By following these steps, we can help young people overcome chronic tiredness and develop the energy and motivation they need to achieve their goals. Let's start by talking about mindset. The first step towards overcoming chronic tiredness is changing your mindset. You need to understand that tiredness is a normal and necessary part of life. It's not something to be feared or avoided. In fact, feeling tired can be a good thing, because it means that your body and mind are resting and recovering. You need to learn to listen to your body and respect its need for rest. When you're tired, don't force yourself to push through. Take a break, relax, and recharge. You see, many people try to push through tiredness, but this only makes it worse. When you push through tiredness, you're sending a message to your brain that you don't respect its needs. This creates a disconnect between your mind and body, which makes it harder to overcome tiredness in the long run. Instead, you need to learn to listen to your body and respect its need for rest. When you're tired, take a break, relax, and recharge. Once you've recharged, you'll be able to tackle your tasks with renewed energy and focus. This brings us to the second step, developing the right habits and behaviors. To develop the right habits and behaviors, you need to start by setting clear goals. When you have a clear goal in mind, you're more likely to stay focused and motivated. You need to set both short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals are things that you want to achieve in the next few days or weeks. Long-term goals are things that you want to achieve in the next few months or years. Having both types of goals will keep you motivated and focused. Once you've set your goals, you need to create a plan to achieve them. This plan should include specific actions that you need to take and a timeline for when you'll complete them. It's important to be realistic when setting your goals and creating your plan. Don't set yourself up for failure by setting unrealistic goals or deadlines. Break down your long-term goals into smaller, more manageable short-term goals. This will make them seem less daunting and more achievable. Next, you need to learn how to prioritize your tasks. Not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks are more important than others. You need to learn how to identify the most important tasks and focus on them first. This will help you stay focused and avoid distractions. One way to prioritize your tasks is to use the Eisenhower matrix. This matrix helps you categorize your tasks based on their importance and urgency. Finally, you need to learn how to resist distractions. Distractions are anything that pulls your attention away from your work. They can be internal, such as a lack of motivation, or external, such as social media or television. To resist distractions, you need to learn how to manage your time effectively. One way to do this is to set aside specific blocks of time to check your email or social media. This will prevent you from getting sucked into these distractions and wasting time. In addition to resisting distractions, you also need to learn how to manage your stress levels. Stress can make tiredness worse. When you're stressed, your body produces more cortisol, which can make you feel more tired. To manage your stress levels, you need to find healthy ways to cope with stress, such as exercise, meditation, or spending time in nature. And there you have it, the two-step solution to overcoming chronic tiredness. Remember, the first step is to change your mindset. The second step is to develop the right habits and behaviors. By following these steps, you'll be able to overcome chronic tiredness and develop the energy and motivation you need to achieve your goals. But remember, this is a journey, not a destination. It takes time and effort to change your mindset and develop new habits. But the results will be worth it. You'll be able to feel more energized, motivated, and focused on your tasks. You'll be able to achieve your goals and live a life that you're proud of. So take the first step today and change your mindset. You'll be glad you did. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch the next one. I hope you have an amazing day.